So, good morning and welcome. And and to begin with the meditation, one of the really useful things to notice to support dipping into samadhi is the way that the discursive mind, the mind that thinks a lot, thinks about things, has conversations, talking about things in the mind, living in images and visions of what the mind can produce. The way that that keeps us kind of separated from the body, keeps us somehow in a part of the brain, mind, that's activated, more energized in a way that is not usually so relaxing or calm, or it can be. We're living in our thoughts and living in the activated energy that keeps discursive thinking going, rather than settling deeply in. And discursive thoughts can be mesmerizing. They can be captivating. They can have kind of authority, like this is really important to be thinking about. And our sense of self, of who we are, is often closely, maybe unconsciously, but closely connected or associated with the mind that's just having discursive thoughts. Partly because a lot of the discursive thoughts have to do about me, myself, and I. And so what we're learning to do in meditation, especially samadhi, is to become attuned, aligned with something different than that. A place that's maybe deep inside, maybe in the torso, in the chest, or in the belly, where there's a feeling of settling, a feeling of being more grounded and connected to ourselves. And one way to kind of move into this more grounded, connected sense, embodied sense, rather than a kind of disembodied version of the preoccupations we have, is to start feeling whatever degree of well-being there is in the body. And of course, there's a lot of feeling of distress, feeling of discomfort, emotional challenges. There's a lot of ways that we feel the opposite of well-being that we then prioritize. So, but not to ignore it, not to deny it, not to betray our unhappiness in any kind of way, but to care for it deeply. It can be very helpful to not focus on it directly, to let it just be there as part of the atmosphere, part of the weather, in a sense. And for samadhi, to begin feeling even the ways that there's a sense of well-being in the torso, in the body. And that can be a sense of calm. And even if it's just like, 2% calm next to 98% turmoil, allow the turmoil to be. Don't stir it up even more. Attune yourself to the calm. Or there might be a feeling of settledness, or a place of settling that's in the torso, in the body, that's not in the mind that has all this discursive thinking. Settle with the settling. Calm yourself with the calm. And there also might be a feeling of satisfaction or contentment or joy, delight, or some kind of feeling that's pleasant, a kind of pleasure in being embodied in the body instead of activated in the activated thinking. So to assume a meditation posture, and as I like to say, that no matter what the posture, sitting, standing, lying down, to give some care to how the body is positioned as a beginning of entering into an embodied connection to yourself. And to support this turning inward into the pleasure, the goodness, the calm in the body, to gently close your eyes. And it's even more to begin connecting to your body, coming into your body more. Take some fuller breaths, deeper and fuller, in a comfortable way, but fuller and deeper enough that you're intentionally connecting and engaging the diaphragm, the breathing in the torso, and feeling as you breathe in the expansion of the torso. And then see as you exhale, you can slow the exhale just a little bit, so it's still comfortable to exhale. Slow it and extend it longer. Letting there be a feeling of fullness as you breathe in, like a full balloon. And then a releasing, relaxing as you exhale, as the balloon lets out the air. It gets smaller, comes together. Breathing in, relaxing as you exhale. And then letting the breathing return to normal. But feel now the more subtle way in which there's expansion as you breathe in. And a releasing, relaxing as you exhale. And as you come to the end of the exhale, let there be a small, maybe even infinitesimal pause. And in that short pause, feel whatever sense of stillness or calm, pleasure there is in your body, maybe connected to breathing. As you breathe in and out, see if you can drop down into your body, out of the discursive thinking mind. Like you're lowering yourself into a very pleasant pool of water. And feel whatever is pleasant, whatever pleasure, well-being, calm, settledness you can find in your body, your torso that's breathing. As you breathe in, as if the expansion, the breathing in, is breathing through or with or into the calm and the pleasure, however small. As you exhale, as if you're exhaling into that calm, or groundedness, settledness. Feeling the rhythm of breathing in and breathing out. Letting your awareness stay connected to breathing, riding on the breathing. So there's a sense that awareness is being massaged, or awareness is doing the massage. Breathing in and breathing out. As you exhale, letting go of your thoughts, thinking. So there's more room in your awareness to feel the pleasure, the calm that might be here. And if you find yourself having discursive thoughts, conversations, see if you can feel how unsatisfying it is for the body to have this form of thinking. There's more energized, activated, kind of a pulling away from the body. And how more satisfying it is for the body to be settled, for awareness to be settled in the body, breathing. Taking a few moments to feel whatever it is that might be pleasant, comfortable in your body, whatever might be more settled, maybe deeper than any ways in which you feel uncomfortable, deeper within than any place that you could be having discursive thoughts. Finding the place where breathing, the influence of breathing, the atmosphere of breathing is pleasant, enjoyable. Maybe as there's a sweetness or a glow in your body, which offers the atmosphere in which breathing, the breathing body expands and contracts. For a very short time, maybe only 20, 30 seconds, entrust yourself to that which is calm or settled in your body, no matter how small. Give yourself over to it. Breathe with it. And also spend a few seconds letting your thinking mind become quiet. The kind of quiet you might do if you were going to listen to a sound, a faint sound far in the distance. Let your thinking mind become quiet. To listen, to feel the most subtle feelings of contentment, tranquility, and then as we come to the end of this meditation, imagine that your tranquility, your settledness, your calm can radiate from you out into the world. That to some degree it radiates beyond the edges of your body into the room where you're at, the place you're in. Almost as if whatever empty space is around you receives your calm, your well-being. And whatever feeling of settledness or calm you have, it can spread outward beyond the building you're in, beyond the neighborhood you're in, just beyond, going outwards and outwards. And that you can, and on that can ride your well-wishing for this world. May your care and love and well-wishing for the world be carried on the wide glow of goodwill and kindness May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. And may how we are settled on ourselves, tranquil in ourselves, be the way that our goodwill can be with us as we encounter others. May all beings be happy. Thank you. So, hello and welcome to this continuation of our Samadhi series. And we've had a break for a week, and so I hope that the meditation today was a little bit, kind of getting you a little bit more back into the flow of what we've been doing these last months. And for the topic of this week, the focus will be on the second jhana. When I was here, the last week I was here, I discussed the first jhana. And the second jhana is kind of a deeper form of well-being, a deeper form of pleasure and joy and happiness. And one of the characteristics of it is that it is a sense of well-being, joy and happiness, piti and sukha, that's born of concentration, born of samadhi, and born of the state of meditation that comes. In the first jhana, the joy and the happiness that's there is born from seclusion, from being separated from the preoccupations, the concerns of our everyday life. Being separated, even more importantly, being separated from unwholesome thinking, to be caught up in the hindrances, for greed or ill will, to be caught up in kind of a rigid, dull mind, to be caught in restlessness and regrets, to be caught in doubt, is unwholesome. And so there's this delight and joy and happiness when we're no longer caught in the unwholesome, no longer caught up in the mind. It's the difficulties of the mind. And so part of and what's fueling the first jhana in a sense is vitaka and vichara, two of the jhanic factors of this massage of applied attention and sustained attention. So there is some intentionality, there is some giving ourselves over to the meditation in the first jhana. And this joy, finally, I'm here. Oh, it's so good to be present. And I've been so distracted, so caught up in my mind and my thoughts and preoccupations. This is good. And then, but in order to stay there, there is a kind of gentle massage of applying and staying, massaging. In this, in the second jhana, the need to kind of keep applying and sustaining attention is no longer there. And certainly the applying, coming back and connecting again, is no longer needed. And also there's a little movement of the mind to stay, to ride, be here. That is a little bit intentionality involved, also is not needed. Because now we're settled, we're kind of rooted here, we've arrived. And the mind is not going to wander off. In the second jhana, in the first jhana, there can still be some thinking, mostly thinking about the meditation. And the thinking is all wholesome. There's nothing unwholesome about it. It all helps us to get connected and be in the practice. In the second jhana, there's no real need for thinking anymore. And the mind now has a lot of space, a lot of quiet. Some thoughts might arise, but there's hardly anything to pull us away, or we don't get caught in them or involved in them. And there can be mostly feeling of a lot of empty space, beautiful space, clarity in the mind. And so I want to read to you the classic description of this second jhana. With the stilling of applied and sustained attention, a practitioner enters and abides in the second jhana, consisting of joy and happiness born of concentration, born of samadhi. With calm, inner clarity and unity of mind, free of applied and sustained attention, free of thinking and examination, free of this kind of, so now there's almost no thinking. And so it's characterized by an inner clarity. Sometimes the word that's translated as clarity is translated as assurance, sometimes as confidence. And but one of the meanings of it can be clarity, the brightness. And for me, this represents the quiet of the mind. Of thinking is just about stopped, and so because there's so little thinking, or that certainly no discursive thoughts anymore, no conversations within our mind, it's feeling like that now awareness, the mind has a lot of space, a lot of clarity, like the fog has lifted, the smog has gone away, and we can see across the vast terrain, see the mountains in the distance because of the clarity. And so this is what I said earlier, that one of the characteristics of this second jhana, there's a real switch now, that now we're really here, we're settled, and it feels like we're really arrived. We're not easily slipping off. We don't need with the first jhana, it's very hard to really feel established too, but there is a kind of intentionality of staying there, stay here, be here, stay here, and ride along, be here. And with the first jhana, this is where some people get in trouble, because there's a little bit of intentionality involved, this applied and sustained attention. That if there's there could still be some striving, some pushing, some trying, kind of tightening down, and so people sometimes are pushing it a little bit, and so the joy and the happiness that can arise sometimes gets pumped up, or gets pumped up and gets to be too much, or gets pumped into some particular bottleneck in the body. And some energy can build up there too much. It has a lot to do with the striving. And striving itself is a tightening. Something gets tightened when we strive. And so the energy of the joy and the happiness somehow gets compressed or gets blocked or gets somehow gets interfered with. In the second jhana, the joy and the happiness can get strong, and more likely it gets even stronger in the second and the first. But now it's much less likely to go awry, much less likely to be too intense or too tight or too strainful or get bottlenecked or get kind of blocked or something, because now there's the intentionality of staying there. We're not pumping it up anymore. We're not, blowing on the flame to let it become stronger. We're just allowing things to be there. And in fact, I'll talk more about this tomorrow. The metaphor or the simile for the second jhana has to do with floating in a very peaceful, quiet, clear lake that is very comfortable and very clear. The water is completely is somewhat still, but there is this gentle movement of an underground spring that refreshes us. So the feeling here is there's still some when it's too intense in the first jhana, there's a lot of movement almost of the joy and the pity. In the second, there's still this movement, but it feels refreshing. It feels delightful, and it has no obstacles to it. And this idea that this underwater spring in the lake just has no obstacles as the refreshing water spreads through the body. So I'll talk more about this tomorrow. But one of the ways I want to emphasize here, that one of the lessons of this second jhana is to be able to start to see clearly the difference between being really, dipped into the pool of water, dipped into the samadhi, versus coming out of it into the thinking mind. And how discursive thought, conversational thinking, it puts us as sometimes as fascinating and pleasurable that some of those can be. There is a kind of disconnect with ourselves in that process, disconnect with the wholeness of who we are, the fullness of us that's embodied and present here. And that part of the movement towards this deeper settling of samadhi is to learn how to relax the thinking mind and trust this deeper place of well-being, of settledness, of calmness in the body with the breathing. And so that the thinking mind is not reinforcing some of the unwholesome tendencies of mind. The thinking mind is not repeating itself over and over again, the same stories and ideas that keep us disconnected from the possibility of a deep kind of inner settledness, a deep kind of place of being calm, deep place of just happy to be alive, happy to be present for this moment as it is, independent of the concerns about the world around us. It's not a turning away from the world in a resisting way or escaping way. It's a way of starting to cleanse ourselves deeply so that we can come back into the world in a much better space, much better way. So we'll go through this different aspects of the second jhana this week, and I hope I'm not expecting you to be dipping into the second jhana. Some of you might be familiar with it already, but some of the individual characteristics of the second jhana can be present in even lighter states of meditation, and becoming familiar with them can give you a new orientation for ordinary meditation, because you can start feeling these qualities, characteristics are present in a subtle way, in a way that maybe you ignored before. You never knew to pay attention to it. And the more you start feeling these wholesome, beneficial qualities within, the more engaging it is to meditate and dip into this inner world of meditation. So thank you very much, and look forward to continuing tomorrow.